Hey everybody, gonna try this again today and see how we go for Martian Manhunter. Just plugging in the overhead light real quick, get a little more shine back here. Okay. Just going to dig right into this. See what we can do here. If you're a comics fan and you know the Justice League, then you know this guy. He's been around for ages, and one of the premier characters when you think of the Justice League lineup. He is definitely there. I'm going with a little more traditional version of him. It is a hybrid version because he will have a little more of a reptilian look in the face when I get it going. So, just so you guys know, it'll look like him. It'll look like it's supposed to. I'm not going too far-fetched with it. I know a lot of hardcore fans are out there and look at him for the silver, and even the late golden age when he started popping up. I've had people come up to this guy before being drawn, you know, and they'll just chew an artist out and say, you know, hey, you can't do that. That's, you know, not the way he looks and whatnot. But gotta give some room for creative license a little bit. But I'm not going to go monkeying with him too much because I like the character. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. I was getting messages chimed in and I didn't want to get interrupted. I had to shut it off. So this is a fairly easygoing design. It's a classic blue and red cape and straps across his chest. Which, if you were a good guy back when this guy was created in the late, like I said, the late Golden Age, early Silver Age, you got to remember they used to color with primary colors because the paints were cheaper and because it marked a signal to the patriotic band that was always to flow through comics for separating the heroes from the villains. Back on the cinematic side of it, around the same time they used to do movies with black and white, you know, differentiating, and it wasn't you know, it's been made into a racial thing and all kinds of weird stuff. But the funny thing is it was just contrasting colors, and that was the reason why they did that. You know, it's night and day is what it was supposed to represent, not necessarily race or culture. But a lot of people have bled into that, and we won't go there. But this guy was colored in the typical blue and red for his costume. And that was because of the patriotic colors that it was representing at the time. And every Martian under the sun, pardon the pun there, every Martian that was created was either blue or green at the time. And because, of course, the contrast of his cape with him being a hero and whatnot, they didn't want to have that, so they made him green. I always found that fascinating that, they think every Martian pre-1965 is going to be green, that's going to be funny one of these days. I'm a believer firmly that, I don't necessarily go for all of it, but I think the universe is too big for us to be out there by ourselves. There's too many planets for it not to have some kind of life form out there. But no matter what your creation theory is, or your belief theory is, and again, we won't go there, because I keep that very personal. But the point is that, if and when whatever life form shows up out there, it's going to be funny. Watch it look, nothing like this at all. And who's to say it would even be humanoid at all, because of the chemical composition, if nothing else, but who knows? They could show up and look just like us. You never know. That's been done to death too. But however, John Johns here is a very easy character to draw because of the fact of the simplicity of his costume. I've seen some of them get really high-tech and very strange in design, but they're very mech influenced and, manga and anime influenced, and you can tell it. And everybody wants to go super high-tech these days, but the thing is, practicality states that it's not going to be that way. It's just not practical to move around in that stuff. But what do I know? Because, there's a lot more intelligent people out there working on the space program, and the funny thing is they still use duct tape to seal their suits, so I know nothing. I do know this, the dude's fun to draw. He is absolutely fun to draw. Now you may have noticed I put a little twist on his tricep back here because I wanted it to look more alien, so I raised it up a little bit and put it between the delts just to make a little bit of a anatomical difference. It'll still function like that because it still raises the arm, but just thought it would be a cool difference. It's minor little things like that that'll make a drastic change in a character really quick. Matt came on. Hey, I brought the matches. Now in this area right here on this character, I'm trying to keep it very simple because he doesn't have the same rib structure we do, even though he looks human. Like I did over here, he doesn't have the same rib structure, so I'm trying to keep that open so I don't go monkeying with it, because it doesn't come out the same. It doesn't at all. If you draw him the way they draw him now, it's segmented rather than actual ribs, and they go almost vertical rather than stacked parallel to each other on either side. They almost go vertical down the side, like a snake's ribs that wrap around from the back. Of course, this guy morphs into this big dragon alien thing in his true form anyway, so that makes perfect sense. And again, to make it look a little more unique, I've made the abs just a little bit different and a little off. And it's not necessarily an alien thing. It's more of a human thing, because not everybody's abs are designed, you know, perfect six-pack, boom, 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 boom. The muscles, depending on the development and the shape and the tendon tension and attachment, not to get too deep into it, but it'll make them look different, you know. You have to watch out for that kind of thing, especially if you go for specific reference, especially with actors. If you're going to do a portrait and you want to match up, make sure that you sketch in the way their abs are by the way they crunch down, and make sure that you get that right, because that'll be a big difference. It is actually a physical marker in the human body as a trait, which I found that out years ago when I got seriously spanked for it by an editor that knew that, and I did a little research on it, and I was like, dang, he's right, and I paid for it because I got grabbed at. But think about that one and keep it in mind whenever you're doing this. Alright, I'm going to move into this head here. I want to go this way with it. I'm trying to see how I want to approach the nose, because I want to do the modern reptilian look, but I want to make sure that I stay away from, you know, the camp twist, because I still want him to be humanoid. And I think I want to go this route. Let's get this knocked out. Let me turn him up straight here. Drawing the card on the parallel, I turned it the wrong way when I started the nose, and it kind of went out sideways on me. But it'll still work. Because of the way I'm going to ridge this out, and I'm going to fold it back with a little bit of a reptilian look. That way he still looks human, but he's got the blocky nose that we know of the character. And if you ever draw him, notice that his eyes crunch up right there in the back. They point out to the side. They're very narrow, and they always point up like this to go to the ridge, and then they point out like that. A lot of people don't know that because it blacks out, but yep. And then that's the ear on the side, which lays to the side of his head, believe it or not. It goes up and attaches back to his forehead. It always has. A couple of different old school artists told me that, and I was like, really? I always thought he was more humanoid, but yeah. and the dome should be down here. The natural human form would be down here for the cranium and for the frontal lobe of the head. But the funny thing is, his brain pan goes way up. But I'm going with the humanoid form rather than the high-end egghead dragon form too. So there's a difference, because this goes all the way back and makes a little bit of a ridge up here now. And his brows are massive, so they always stick out. Like that. And then we'll shade this under here. Careful not to do the ear. And then he has these weird eyelids under here that whenever he opens up his eyes and you actually get light on his face, he's got these underlids that flip up. He doesn't necessarily have top lids. They flip all the way up, from what I understand, from what I've talked about the subject with DC artists that actually draw him. I need to get with some more people on it for reference, but that's the way they claim that he does it. So, and they could be messing with me, I don't know, but that's okay. Friends, gotta love friends. So, it came out alright. It looks cool to me, so that'll make it. He has a very prominent mandible muscle in his jawline. Always has. Just a massive, massive jawline. Putting in that drop shadow for his neck to pop out. And for that that rather large chin. Now this interior cape of the collar here is just going to be shadowed out. Plain and simple, no biggie. Just going to shadow that down and block that out. And then I'm going to tweak on the cape here a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to those eyes in just a minute. But I just wanted to add these shades in so that I have them in place. Make this thing jump off real quick. So we have that covered. And now I'm going to put one right here. I know we can't see that fold yet, but I'm going to add it on anyway. Right there. There, he's starting to come along. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to pop in these eyes. And they'll be left open because they're going to be red. That's it. Oh, let's see. I'm moving my reference around. to see which way I wanted to go, because I was thinking about going with the newer armor on the chest, but I'm going to break down and close it and just go with the bare chest version, which is funny because he's alien and he's still got nurples. So I don't normally use reference on this, but I wanted to make sure the armor was accurate because I've never drawn that new armor. That goes from, you know, it's sleeveless and it goes right in here, but I'm not going to bother with that. So what I will do is go ahead and knock him out. Now, I'm not making these ridges very deep because I don't like him with the reptilian scaled up, you know, up the head thing, and I just don't dig that. So, I'm going to add some lining here. I'm not going to put any of his emblem on his belt either, because like I said, I'm not referencing that to the exact. I'm just taking my artistic rendition on it. Now I'll get my big hand out of the way so you guys can see. There you go. This guy's very simple in this form. Very simple. I'm going to put in this one mark right here just to make it look like an actual separate piece from him, because this gives me the side to shadow. That's what that line's for. That was a trick I picked up from Rich Buckler before he passed away. He was kind enough to show me how to do that because I wanted to know how to make fabric pop off better without making it look blunt or super thick or boxed. And that little line idea is what he taught me, and I tell you what, it works. It really does. It works. Rich was a great guy. He was a pro for years on end, and he gave me tips now and again. Great guy. So now I'm going to add a little bit of shading here to make this pop up a little bit. Not too much. Because normally I would go in and black it out, but today I'm going to line it just a little bit. For one, I'm practicing different techniques right now, which I do a different one every day. And for two, I want this to be open for the green to look really, really good and not too washed out. Because I love David Finch's work, but I don't want to draw like him, you know. The dude is phenomenal, but I don't do cross hatching and photorealism like he does, so I'm not even going to go there. The reason I'm putting these lines in right here is because of the fact that this was originally a fabric material, not armor or anything like that. It wasn't dense. It was fabric on this version of the character. So I'm just gonna, because it was a ceremonial garb is what I was trying to get at. It was a uniform. So like I said, I don't want to overwork that. There's some kind of chain or rope or cord or something going across here, so we've got that going on. And I believe we're going to leave that alone now. So you guys have Martian Manhunter. However, I lied. I'm not going to leave it alone just yet because I don't want to leave that under nose not drawn in there. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much. That's another one. Who do I have tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow's going to be another Spider-Man character, Black Cat. It will be the Felicia Hardy version of Black Cat. I know there's a couple more out there now, but anyway, yeah, we're going to be doing that tomorrow, and I'll get this inked up, posted up, and I want to get off here because we're running on 30 minutes, and I don't want to run over and have Facebook drop me again for some weird reason like they did with the Domino Project yesterday. Thank you guys as always. I'll see you tomorrow.